What is going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Friday, June 9th, 2023, and we are back with another weekly live stream here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button. If you are new, please be sure to also hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live. We are back, y'all. We are back. But before I go into anything, let me give a shout out to those who are in the chat so far. We have Jerome, Davis, DJ, Savion, Cool Spider, Letitia, Lady Messenger, Lady Butterfly 25, DSA1, Janesta, Kanan Malou. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Emma Crawford, Donna C, Lewis, Knowles, Rachel Marion, Jay Bird, Spidey, Law 064, The Hula Gang, Afro Elite, Tildall 12, Favor Joe, and Christian Roberts. I'm glad everybody is here. I'm glad everybody is doing well. Before I really go into anything, how did everybody like the homegoing services that we gave Pat Robinson today? Put a 1 in the chat if you enjoyed those services. I'm not even going to ask you if you put a 2. I just want to know who was all in attendance. I know that some people probably caught the playback, but it was a lot of people that was in attendance. I knew y'all was going to love that one. I couldn't give y'all. I know some people was looking forward to a triple P when it came to what's her face, Jamel Hill, but I had put out a short video saying I couldn't put out a triple P on her because all the information wasn't there. But we could definitely talk about Pat Robinson, and that's exactly what we did. Spidey said you hadn't seen it yet. Well, when this stream is over, make sure you go and check that out. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. I'm glad everybody who was able to watch it did watch it. And if y'all haven't, it's still up there. Y'all go ahead and check that out. And the thing is, I was going back and forth between 2 titles to give that video. It was either going to be Finally, just the word finally, or what I gave it, which was It's About Time. I think either one fit, but I ended up going with It's About Time because I think that resonated with my audience more. Finally would have did, but I wanted to add a couple. I just wanted to add some more words to it. So it came up to It's About Time. So as many of y'all also know, this is the second Friday of the month. And if y'all don't remember or don't know, when I decided to do one live stream, not one live stream, when I decided to upload one video a day, I also changed the format of the live stream. So since this is the second Friday, this stream right here will remain up on the channel. I'm not putting it behind a paywall, so everybody can watch the playback, whether you are a Patreon member or not, a member of the channel or not. If people who aren't even subscribed to me, who may just come over and just casually watch it, y'all will be able to see this video because, like I said, the second Friday will always stay up. And if there's 5 Fridays, you'll get the second and fourth Friday, which, of course, this month has 5 Fridays. So this stream playback will remain up on the channel. I just wanted to tell y'all that, just in case people was not aware. We have some more people that came in. We got Mike C, Vulcan 2054, Kappa Sean, AW1, DSB, the official auntie of the channel herself, Sean from the Shy. And I think that's it so far. But how's everybody doing so far? And before I actually really go into it, everybody on the East Coast, including myself, how is everybody doing? Because you know what's going on with Canada and them wildfires and that smoke coming down here. I think I had posted up on my Twitter account yesterday how I could smell that smoke yesterday. Not so much today, but I was able to smell it yesterday. It was a little bit hazy too, nowhere near what it was like in New York, of course, but I was able to smell it, and it literally smelled like somebody was burning trash outside. That's exactly what it smelled like. But today was pretty good. I didn't smell anything. It wasn't hazy, but man, was that smell unbearable. And I know that it had stretched as far as like the Carolinas. I think it went as far as like some people in Ohio got it. I think people was telling me that who live like on the West Coast, of course, they smelled it as well. Sage, I know you dealt with it because you was right in the thick of it. You right in New York. So I'm sure you know you had no other choice but to see it. But other than that, I hope everybody is doing okay and had a good week, nonetheless, despite that situation right there. And let's see who else do we have in the chat. We got David O, Tahada Hada 420, JJ Mars, and Blueberry Muffin. All right, y'all. It is officially 6:10, so y'all know when 6:10 hits. We love to go right ahead into these articles and these topics. And because this is the Friday that I'm allowing the stream to stay up on the channel, I decided to add more topics in there. That way, more people, it could be more stuff for people to watch. So this stream probably is going to go a little bit longer than usual. And we're going to take our time with it. So we have 3 positive stories this week. You know, last week we had 2 that were wrapped into one story, but this week we have 3 of them. And let me scroll down here and make sure I have this up. Okay. So the first positive story that we have this week, and I actually found out about this last week, is this woman by the name of Amy Forna Sanko. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And she is from Knoxville, Tennessee. And it said at the age of 3, she lost her hearing, but she has made history as the first deaf Black woman to earn a doctorate degree in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And it says in the US and possibly the world. So let's look into her story. Sanko, who was born in Sierra Leone, grew up during the Civil War in the country. After losing her hearing, she struggled throughout her education. Her father hoped to find a cure for her deafness, so he decided to send her to the US to live with his best friend who adopted her. Although a cure was never found, Sanko discovered a sense of belonging within the deaf community and learned American Sign Language, or ASL, over the years. The challenges in school weren't gone, but she said mathematics was something she grew to love. Mathematics is just visual, and I was able to enjoy that, she told the chemistry world. Anytime a person talked, I didn't understand anything, but when they would write out the formulas, I could see it and I could see each step of how to solve that problem. Sanko continued to excel in high school, wherein she developed a passion for complex mathematics and then chemistry. She particularly liked observing and analyzing chemical reactions and making predictions based on them. Her love for science led her to work as a lab technician and pursue higher education. She attended the Rochester Institute of Technology's National and Technical Institute for the Deaf, where she earned her associate's degree in laboratory sciences and thereafter her bachelor's degree in biochemistry. Following her college graduation, she worked in a lab where she enjoyed participating in research. She was inspired to further her education and decided to enroll in the PhD program at UT Knoxville. Her PhD research focused on studying the effects of hormones on plant pathogen interactions. However, Sanko faced a major obstacle on scientific communication with her fellow researchers. It was even more challenging when the pandemic happened, and it almost made her give up on her graduate studies. But her mentor and coworkers made efforts to minimize those obstacles and helped her push through. After overcoming difficulties and self-doubt, Sanko made history as she graduated with a PhD from the University of Tennessee's Knoxville's Department of Biochemistry in Cellular and Molecular Biology. She celebrated her achievement with her biological parents, who traveled from Sierra Leone to the US for her graduation. Moreover, Sanko, who already contributed as an author to 4 scientific publications so far, is set to take her postdoctoral position in the Danforth Plant Science Center in Missouri. I feel very, very proud for persisting, she said, but I'm very happy that I'm able to inspire the next generation of deaf scientists so they can see their potential. Dope story. Very, very good story. And I've always told people about that STEM. It's always a reason why the School of STEM gets the most funding when it comes to these colleges. Shout out to all the STEM majors in the chat. I wasn't a STEM major, but shout out to the STEM majors. I see Blueberry Muffins at MS in Mathematics Education. But definitely shout out to her, for persevering and being consistent and going forward with her endeavors. And I hope to see whatever else plans she has in the future and what else she can contribute to society as a whole, because that is just simply amazing. And shout out to everybody who's just coming into the chat. I'm kind of going off the screen and off of my phone to look at the chat at the same time. Shout out to DJ and Carla, who just came into the chat, as well as Talking and Grubbin Media and Mike Mellis John. And speaking of Mike Mellis John, I think he put his degree in there as well. Lady Messenger said, pursuing my master's in cybersecurity technology. Dope. Hey, Lady Messenger, were you on the live stream that I did last week? Because the 13-year-old boy that I was talking about, that's where he got his degree in. The one that I was talking about out in Oklahoma, that's where he got his degree in, was in cybersecurity. Maine said computer science. Mike Bellins John said computer software and certification in pursuit. Nice. That's what I love to hear. Shout out to all the STEM majors, and shout out to this young lady as well. So now we're going to move on to the next, I guess you could say, Black excellence story. Now, this is a story that actually came out at the end of April, but I'm just now learning about it. But I said either way, I definitely got to highlight this individual. So shout out to this person named Dennis Barnes, who's this guy right here. He's 16 years old in the state of Louisiana and received more than $9 million in university scholarship offers. Let's just dwell on that for a second. He's 16 and he got more than $9 million in scholarships. He's going to be good. He don't have to worry about no student loans. His stuff is pretty much taken care of, and he's only 16. Let's read into his story. Dennis Barnes, who was in his final year at the International High School of New Orleans, applied last August to 200 colleges across the country. He has so far been accepted at 125 schools. Now, keep in mind, he applied to 200 and got accepted to 125 and is hoping for more offers before he decides where to enroll. By this time, he's probably already found a place to enroll because, again, the story came out at the end of April. The scholarship offers could see Mr. Barnes set a new national record soon. My goal is to reach 10 million, he told the local WWL-TV media outlet, which first reported the eye-popping amount the student has amassed. That would see Mr. Barnes shatter a U.S. record set 3 years ago by another Louisianan, Normandy Cormier. Ms. Cormier, who attended the historically Black Xavier University of Louisiana and is now completing a master's degree at Louisiana State University, was offered total aid of $9.4 million from some 140 schools in 2019. So now they're highlighting another Black young person, a young lady this time, who had 9.4 million. And he's just trying to shatter her record. But either if he does or he doesn't, this is still amazing. And they said she got total up from 140 schools. According to The Guardian, she sought recognition from Guinness World Records for her feat, and while the organization could not find a person with more offers in the U.S., it was unable to establish if she had broken a world record given the global differences between higher education systems. Mr. Barnes told WWL-TV that his social media blew up as word spread of his achievement. He is a National Honors Society president who is fluent in Spanish, has a near perfect grade point average, and is already pursuing college credits at the Southern University at New Orleans. Applying to so many schools had not been overwhelming like most people would think. He added, I started in the beginning of the school year, and over a long period of time, I was applying. In a statement reached by his school, Mr. Barnes said he plans to pursue a dual degree in computer science, another STEM major, and criminal justice, and would announce next month which college he plans to attend. His advice to fellow applicants: The road to a successful future is to plan ahead, network with the collegiate partners, and know if you can see your vision, you can achieve your goal. That's why I love doing these stories. That's why I save these type of stories for the live stream, because I like to actually share in real time with my audience these amazing stories. And yes, Donna, they love to claim that we so low IQ. I'm sorry, but you cannot get $9 million in scholarship with a low IQ. That's just impossible. What's going on, Val? So we got Val and Carla in here. The Double Mint twins are in the chat. But shout out to y'all. But this is simply amazing. Phenomenal. That is crazy. Because I remember like some stories, they will always talk about how whenever they see stories of black kids getting these scholarships and people going crazy for them, how they feel like it was staged. And we know the usual suspects always got to be hating. And no, this is very real. I remember it was one year, I can't remember what year it was. I think it was pre-pandemic, when it was like a stream of those type of videos was popping up online, like one after the other. And it was just like a beautiful sight to see. But you know, mainstream media ain't really going to talk about it. Look where I pulled this article from, the BBC. That's all the way overseas, talking about a story that's happening over here. And shout out to Jay Cage for the first super chat of the day, $10. He said, B1 and fam, late but here. Well, I'm glad you are here. We're still in the beginning. We're still talking about the positive stories, but definitely shout out to this young brother right here. Probably after the stream, I'm going to look up to see what school he got into, unless somebody can, in the chat, can look that up right quick, because I'm sure by now he's already picked a school. I mean, the opportunities were endless. He got accepted to 125. I mean, that's probably a hard decision, though, to be quite honest. Like, what school do I go to? Even though I'm racked up all these scholarships, what school do I go to? But either way, bright future, especially with the degrees he's pursuing. But I have one more positive story to tell. Now, this one doesn't have anything to do with schooling or anything, but this actually blew my mind when I found out about it, and I actually found out about it yesterday because the story came out yesterday. Now, before I present this story, how many people in the chat have seen the movie Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? Of course, y'all know I saw it because I did a review for it, and I uploaded it this past Sunday. Put a 1 in the chat if any of y'all in the chat have seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I'm asking you because that's how this story that I'm bringing to you is related. All right, so David O said 1. Stay positive said 2. I mean, Blueberry Muffin said yes. Cool Spider said 1. Spidey said 2. Blueberry Muffin said 1. Grape Shot 1. So we having a mixture of 1s and 2s. But either way, if you saw it, great. If you didn't see it, this story, it still holds a lot of weight. Let me give a shout out to this young 14-year-old right here, whose name is Preston. Let me make sure I get his name. Preston Mutanga. Now, the reason why I asked who saw the movie is because in the movie, there was a scene where they were talking about Legos, like Lego Spider-Man. And in the Spider-Verse, there's a whole bunch of different spider people. Legos was part of it. Spoiler alert. That's why I asked if y'all saw it, because this was kind of like a spoiler. But there were Lego characters in there. This kid, this 14-year-old kid right here, helped to design that scene. Jay Bird, I'm sorry, but I kind of spoiled you with this story. This story is kind of a spoiler. But this kid right here helped to design that scene. And he's only 14 years old, and I think he's out of Canada. But let me go ahead and read the article. It says Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse seemingly came out of nowhere and exploded box offices. It already made over $235 million and is gaining constant and high praise all over social media. Fans of the film especially love the exquisite and innovative animation design, heralding it as wonderfully creative and visually dazzling. It turns out that one of the genius animators was a 14-year-old kid from Canada. Born in Minnesota to immigrant parents from Cameroon, 14-year-old Preston Mutanga currently lives in Toronto, Canada. With a passion for comics, animation, and Lego, Mutanga started a fun project that eventually got him noticed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the writer-producers of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. In January of this year, Mutanga posted a Lego version of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse's movie trailer, which he built and animated himself. Lord and Miller also directed the Lego movie in 2014. And when they came across Mutanga's trailer, they were seriously impressed, and they posted it right here below. So they basically incorporated a piece of his trailer in there, or they either have him design something specifically for the movie, but I'm going to keep on reading so I make sure we get it right. After later deciding to include a Lego sequence in the Spider-Verse sequel, they knew who they wanted to animate it. The New York Times reported Miller's reaction. We found out that it was a 14-year-old who made it, and we were like, this looks incredibly sophisticated for a non-adult, non-professional to have made. It blew us all away, including some of the best animators in the world. Preston Mutanga's parents are luckily very supportive of their son's dreams, an undeniable gift. His father introduced him to Blender, a 3D software that he immediately took to. Then Mutanga said he simply watched a lot of YouTube videos to teach himself certain stuff. And by the way, what you're looking at on your screen, what I'm circling around, this is a picture from the movie. This is part of his animation right here. After vetting and confirming his son's wild Hollywood offer was real, Theodore Mutanga literally built Preston a new computer and invested in a professional graphics card. In between homework and school, Preston chatted virtually with the production team for feedback and gained a huge highlight on his resume for a future career in animation. The New York Times quotes Phil Lord as saying, "The Lego movie is inspired by people making films with Lego bricks at home. That's what made us want to make the movie. Then the idea in Spider-Verse is that a hero can come from anywhere. And here comes this heroic young person who was inspired by the movie that was inspired by people like him." Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is in theaters now, starring the voice talents of Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, Oscar Isaac as Miguel O'Hara, Shamik Moore as Miles Morales, Issa Rae as Spider-Woman, Daniel Kaluuya as Spider-Punk, Jake Johnson as Spider-Man, and more. And just keep your eye out for Preston's Lego sequence toward the beginning of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I did see. That is absolutely phenomenal. See, that's why I say I love doing stories like this. And let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 185 people in this chat, and all of that was based off of 3 stories that were positive. Because sometimes it takes a little time to warm up, but we have 185, almost 200 people in this chat off of 3 of the first 3 stories being positive stories. Because after this, you already know it kind of goes downhill from here. So shout out to everybody who was here. Make sure y'all hit that like button and that share button so we can keep this thing moving right along and growing. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, this stream will remain on YouTube. I'm not going to put this one on Patreon like I do with the other ones. Now that we have gotten all the positive stories out of the way, we are now about to head into the BS. But before we get into that, I have to highlight one story that it's kind of shaky right now, because I was going to talk about it one way, but then when I found out some more updates, now I got to talk about it a whole nother way. How many people in the chat have heard about what's going on with John Amos, who played James Evans on Good Times, Mr. McDowell on Coming to America, and played in various other movies and television shows over the span of 5 decades, probably more? How many people have heard about what's going on with John Amos? All right, so I'm seeing a lot of ones, so that lets me know right there's people are well aware of what's happening, so I don't have to really go way into it. But this new update, though, y'all may not be too familiar with. So I got this article off of Parade because I wanted to get the more recent article. So basically the story is that John Amos was hospitalized. Apparently he had some kind of an illness. They're not really going too much into it. And his daughter had launched some kind of a GoFundMe. Now, when I had saw this, someone had posted it up on my has posted it up on Twitter and tagged me in it. And I didn't want to sound rude because I almost said why does John Amos have a GoFundMe account for medical expenses. I'm like, I'm sure he has some funds, from his vast career. Like, we've never heard any stories about him being destitute or anything like that. So it kind of threw me off a little bit. But then when I was explained a little bit more about what happened, I said, oh, that's messed up. But now it's some more information coming out from John Amos's side saying that this GoFundMe or whatever is not all it's cracked up to be. But we're going to read into it. It says John Amos is shutting down claims that he is a victim of elder abuse after his daughter Shannon Amos launched a GoFundMe page seemingly on his behalf, claiming the Good Time star suffered an elder abuse and financial exploitation. John has released a statement expressing that he's doing just fine. Parade spoke directly with John Rep's Belinda Foster, who shared the following statement on the behalf of the 83-year-old TV legend. I wish to make a statement for the record that I am doing well. I appreciate everyone's concerns, but again, please understand that this GoFundMe campaign is not one that is accurate or authorized by me. Thank you, John Amos. Foster made it clear to Parade that John was not fighting for his life and he's not in the ICU. The publicist for AWJ Platinum PR said the West Wing alum's recent medical attention, which she categorized as a little tune-up, was for fluid in his legs. This update came less than a day after Shannon appeared to create a fundraising effort on behalf of her father. She wrote on the GoFundMe page on May 14th of this year, I received a distressing call from my dad who was hospitalized far away in Memphis, Tennessee. And that's a picture of him with his daughter. The statement continued, though I was out of the country, we managed a brief FaceTime conversation before his pain became too unbearable. Desperate, I reached out to a family friend who flew to Memphis while I prepared to join them. What we found shattered our world. My dad fighting for his life in the ICU. During the following weeks, my family and I unraveled a horrifying truth, the note read. My dad has fallen victim to elder abuse and financial exploitation. Determined to seek justice, we are working closely with the Colorado Bureau of Investigations and the local sheriff's department in my father's home state. Later, in a since deleted Instagram post, Shannon noted, with all due respect to my father's response, I understand that this is embarrassing and upsetting and probably not what he would have wanted me to do, but it is in his best interest. Now, that last line right here is very telling, where she says, I understand that this is embarrassing and upsetting and probably not what he have wanted me to do, but it is in his best interest. So you just created this GoFundMe because that's what you thought your father wanted, but clearly that's not what he wanted, because this situation, from his words, are being blown out of proportion. So now I'm looking at his daughter, who is this woman right here, with the side eye. Like, why did you really create this GoFundMe? And by the way, I saw the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe's goal is to reach $500,000. And the last time I saw it, which was last night, it was at almost $8,000. $500,000, that's a lot of money. That's $500,000. So I'm leaning more towards John Amos rather than his daughter. Of course, she came out after this was put out there and saying that, that this situation is not fake. What she's created the GoFundMe for is actually real. But yeah, it's having people look at you with the side eye now. Carlton Way said the daughter may have been trying to get a quick bag. Probably. But yeah, this is real shaky. This is sitting on shaky ground for me right now. I think she had ulterior motives with that money or for this GoFundMe. And if she is stealing, like JJ Mar said in the chat, if she is stealing in the name of her dad, she's messed up. But it wouldn't be so surprising, because we've heard stories all the time where kids will do whatever they can to try to get money out of their parents, and they will go through lengths in order to do it. I guess you think, if I can't get it out of my dad, let me get it out of these people. And that's even more messed up, because now you're deceiving people who want to donate to this man who they probably grown up watching and are a fan of, thinking he's really in a situation. But if this is true what John is saying, kudos to him for saying that, because he's preventing people from sending unnecessary money. Because now it would look like a scam, and he has to protect himself, and he has to say something. He had to say something, because if he didn't, it will make people think he's in on it. So they need to talk to that daughter. I think John also has a son as well. Those genes are strong. They may be like light skin and complexion, but they both look just like their dad. Like they have his whole face, but just a little bit lighter. But yeah, we gonna keep our eye on this one for sure. But if John Amos is like not doing well, I hope he has a speedy recovery with whatever it is. Because I thought it was also very interesting how the GoFundMe doesn't really go into too much detail about what's going on with him too. So yeah, I'm kind of on that one. But anyway, let's move on to the next story. Now, the next story is probably one of the biggest stories that's come out this week. I'm just going to go ahead and share this and let the video speak for itself.
Turned deadly in Florida. A woman is claiming self-defense after killing her neighbor by shooting the mother of four through the front door. CBS's Mark Strassman reports some are upset that it took 4 days for police to make an arrest.
Susan Lawrence, witnesses say, was that neighbor. Beyond unpleasant, she tormented her community, shouted racist insults at little kids. But ugly turned to deadly last Friday. Police say Lawrence killed Ajike Owens, a mother of four, by shooting once through her locked front door.
When does a person get shot for knocking on a door with their 9-year-old son standing next to them?
At this apartment complex, 2 of Owens' young kids have been playing outside. Police say Lawrence yelled at them, threw a skate, swung an umbrella. Then police say Owens knocked on her door for an explanation. Gunshot.
She had a 12-year-old that is also blaming himself because when he responded, he couldn't save his mother.
Lawrence was charged with manslaughter. What eats at Owens' family, police took 4 days to make an arrest.
This will encourage people to shoot Black people first and ask questions later. And we can't send that message.
Police say Lawrence has claimed self-defense under Florida's Stand Your Ground law. She could face a 30-year sentence on that manslaughter charge.
Self-defense from what? What were you defending yourself from? And you want to know what's so interesting? Lamestream media works very slow. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. We found out the identity of this woman who killed this mother days before they did. Because the reason why I say that is because I just happen to have the TV on. Sometimes, sometimes you just leave the TV on and whatever comes on, just come on. And I remember, I forgot who it was on. They were talking about this situation right here. And they said that at the time, they didn't know who the woman was. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, yes, we do know who the woman was that killed her. Because I saw her picture on Twitter and her name. And that was from a couple days prior. See, lamestream media, they can't keep up with social media. That's why we be finding out stuff before they do. And shout out to Lisa Cabrera, because she's done a couple of videos so far talking about this story right here. But yeah, they said that this was a so-called ongoing feud between the two of them, so they say. This was definitely personal. I don't believe that this was excuse me. I don't believe this was random at all. I truly believe that this was personal. And like they said, it took them 4 days to arrest her. 4 days. Which means they probably had no intention on arresting her until people made noise online, and then that's when they decided to make a move. See, this wasn't like what happened last week with that Asian store owner who chased that boy in Columbia, South Carolina out the store and shot him in the back and killing him, along with his son, who I believe is still not apprehended. They got him immediately because they already knew what would happen. They kind of gave him a little tease when they went and kind of wrecked their store, but they just knocked some stuff over. They could easily clean that up. But yeah, it took them 4 days to arrest her, which means they probably had no intention of doing so until people made enough noise and made them do it. So this is what, the second story this year so far where a black person got shot while going to the door. Because, remember we had Ralph Yarl that happened back in April. He's very fortunate to be alive considering where he got shot at. Now you have this woman, only 35 years old, 1 year older than me, a mother, murdered. All because the children were playing near her apartment. This was most definitely personal because, like I said, they said this has been an ongoing situation between the two of them for a while. So she probably felt like, okay, I got to deal with this right now. Like, look at this right here. Pressure was mounting. Owens' family members called for the arrest Monday. Now, we know if the shoe was on the other foot, she would have gotten arrested that day. Stand your ground probably most likely would not have worked for her either. As we all know, stand your ground rarely works for black people, and if it does, it's few and far in between. But we'll keep an eye on this story right here. But RIP to this woman, condolences to her family and to her children, especially. They are traumatized. They are traumatized for the rest of their life to have to witness their mother be murdered like that by that beastly figure that I'm glad that I don't have to look at her picture right now. JJ Mar said, where's that law and order governor? Oh, he's too busy trying to run for president and fighting the woke. Because he said Florida is the state where the woke goes to die, because he treats woke like it's some kind of demonic entity. But RIP to this woman right here, definitely. But if y'all thought this story was upsetting, this story right here is going to really piss you off. And if y'all live in the state of Maryland, where I live at, then you'll completely understand.
But first tonight at 8:30, two women, a mother and daughter, accused of killing their grandmother, remain in jail. It's a gruesome story. One Katie Barlow heard in court today. She's in Landover with the details.
This house behind me on Hill Road in Hyattsville, Maryland, is where 44-year-old Candace Craig is accused of murdering her mother and then recruiting her daughter, Celia Hardy, to help her dismember the body and burn it. Candace Craig is facing first-degree murder charges, while her daughter is facing charges for being an accessory after the fact. Today, a judge in Prince George's County said both women must remain behind bars for now. They're a threat to the safety of the community.
So just the thought of people who are in your lineage, people who are supposed to be carrying on your legacy, being a part of your demise is almost unbelievable.
The assistant state's attorney said that this is one of the worst murders she has seen during her time in office. Police say they were called for a welfare check by a witness who speaks regularly to 71-year-old Margaret Craig and said they hadn't heard from her in days. Police searched the house and say they found human remains on trash bags, along with blood splatter in the basement and more human remains on a chainsaw. Prosecutors say the two women dismembered the body, then tried to burn it on a grill behind the house.
Possibly was kind of suspicious because Memorial Day, they had their grill further down from the house, from the house. Usually have their barbecues close to the house. That kind of got suspicious. I didn't see nobody at the grill. Nobody bringing anything out to the grill. So I didn't pay much more attention to it.
They had one of those a barrel type grills.
Yes.
And they had the charcoal sitting beside, and then they had like a little table with the umbrellas.
The grandmother is still technically a missing persons case. The DNA that was collected here at the crime scene is being analyzed as we speak, and the two women are set for their next court date in July in Prince George's County.
Woo! Let me tell y'all, I didn't hear about this story initially until a little bit after, well, way after it had happened. And this is in the state that I'm in. I know exactly where Landover, Maryland is. I know exactly how to get to Landover, Maryland. It's literally in the same county that I live in. But that is some, like when I first heard about this, my first initial thought, was it for the insurance policy? Was there insurance money involved? Because usually when someone does something like this, it's always for money. Like, what kind of insurance policy did the grandmother have? And by the way, this is the daughter. This is the daughter, and this woman right here, that's her daughter. So mother to her, grandmother to her. I just wanted to establish that just in case y'all didn't know. But that is absolutely crazy. And the grandmother was 71. Imagine you meet your end in such a brutal way. And what makes it worse is that it came at the hands of the woman you gave birth to and the woman who is your granddaughter, who could probably be her first granddaughter. I don't know if this woman has any more children. But they said that they butchered her with a chainsaw and grilled her body parts. I think somebody said Texas Chainsaw style. That's exactly what it reminds me of. And throwing some Silence of the Lambs like Hannibal Lecter, like cooking people. Yeah. Spidey Sue said that it sounds like Tim Norman. Good example. Like I said, and the crazy part about it is a lot of people will walk around who look as innocent as they possibly can. They look like they ain't got nothing wrong with them. Those be the ones you got to look out for. So this woman is 44 and her daughter is 19. Yeah, they pretty much done. And this is a picture of her with the mother. This is the woman that they murdered. That's her. That's her mother right there. And that's her. That is absolutely sad. I hope they get the worst to happen to them. I think without the shadow of a doubt, they are definitely done. Jordan said, I thought about an episode of Forensic Files. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up on Forensic Files. Someone said Jeffrey Dahmer. Yep. That's a really good example right here. Janessa said, I didn't know black people did that. Stranger things have happened. I'll leave it right there. I don't put nothing past nobody. Granted, you may not hear about black people doing something like this every day, but there are some psychos and sickos. You're looking at two of them on your screen. Spidey said, isn't Maryland considered the South? Well, technically it is. It's really technically called the Mid-Atlantic because the Washington, D.C., Maryland is really considered the Mid-Atlantic. Well, Virginia, after a certain point, really is considered the South. But they say anything below the Mason-Dixon line, which is in Delaware, is considered the South. So if you really want to be technical, Maryland would be considered the South, as it would be the state that starts the South from the North. Delaware and up is considered the North, and Maryland and lower is considered the South. But yeah, RIP to that woman. I know the other family members were probably just shocked and just in shock and awe of hearing this. I know I would. Like, You just never know. Imagine being a family member to them and then finding this out. But anyway, let me move on to the next story. And shout out to all my New Yorkers out there, because we about to talk about your favorite mayor, Eric Adams. Remember how I did a video talking about how he needs to be a one-term mayor? Well, this story right here is proof of that. Now, I know when Eric Adams proposed this, I know it was a lot of people that probably wanted to find him and put hands on him. And I can understand completely why you would want that. So, in case y'all haven't heard, Eric Adams decided to put his foot even further down his throat, even more than it already was, and floated the idea of having homeowners with spare rooms taking in what he calls asylum seekers. But let's be real here. We're talking about illegal immigrants. Don't call them no asylum seekers. Don't give them no special title. Are you kidding me? To all my New Yorkers in the chat, I know I got a couple up in here. What was your thoughts when you heard that he said, if you have a spare room, can you open up the spare room and let, in his words, asylum seekers stay with you? Are you kidding me? I'm not even in the state, and I'm like, this dude, this guy here is off the chain, and not in a good way. Like, you just letting yourself open your house to strangers. Some people won't even allow their certain family members to come in their homes because they know how they are. And you want to let complete strangers in? And I got a story that I'm going to be talking about y'all on this live stream that's going to show to you right there why this would be an absolute bad idea. So let's read into it. With thousands of asylum seekers coming to New York City, Mayor Eric Adams is floating an interesting idea to help accommodate them. And I'm sure they're saying interesting in not a good way either. Hisner says homeowners with a spare room, or his honor says homeowners with a spare room could be paid to provide shelter. There's not enough money in the world. Sorry. There are residents who are suffering right now because of economic challenges. They have spare rooms. It's cheaper, and it's a good investment for us to go to a family and assist them instead of placing people in large congregate settings or in these emergency hotels. Basically saying the PC people don't want them there. So tell them others to open up their doors and let them stay there. I'm kind of loosely quoting Kid Gravity right now to the New Yorkers up there. Y'all got to vote him out. And if it's possible, is there a way that you can get him out before the election cycle rolls around? Because I don't think y'all can last like another day or even a couple of months under him being the mayor. In the Woodlawn section of the Bronx, resident Alan Reese said he doesn't think the idea will fly. Good luck with that, Reese said. CBS 2 found a lot of skepticism along with some support. Some people might go for it. You know why not? People open their hearts to people, said Martha Kelly of Woodlawn. Well, Martha, I hope you're one of those some people. Since you suggested the idea, I hope you opening up your door. And I'm talking about the spare room door. Sam Waniala, also of Woodlawn, said the private residence idea shows the mayor is running out of asylum housing options. He may be desperate, but I think he shouldn't do something because he's desperate. So government interferes with our freedom or our security. Surrounded by faith leaders, the mayor announced another initiative on Monday, paying 50 churches and other faith-based locales to provide overnight shelter to about 1,000 asylum seekers. Notice they don't tell them how much money they're paying. The very places where we offer prayer are the places where we need to offer sanctuary and shelter, said the Reverend Terry Troya of Project Hospitality. The faith-based initiative is well underway and likely to roll out over the next few weeks. The idea of housing asylum seekers in private homes is still a work in progress and may require changes to state law. State law. Key words there. What that screams to me is that they're going to do a whether you want to or not is going to happen type of deal. JJ Marr said, notice Al Sharpton and other black NY people are silent. Of course they're going to be quiet. We know, listen, the ones who was advocating for this stuff right here, they ain't going to say nothing. Sage said, this is a new form of eminent domain. Listen, this is the so-called Biden of Brooklyn, y'all. His pitching out up here. Well, that's maybe for good measure. This is the so-called Biden of Brooklyn that is suggesting this. This was posted June 5th, 4 days ago. Blueberry Muffin said, Hochul is out. Eric Adams needs to go along with her. That is absolutely ridiculous. Like, what is in that New York water for you to come up with that as an idea? And you know what's so funny? When I was looking at the press conference that he had when he was discussing this, he looked so defeated. Eric Adams looked so defeated when he was talking about that. He looked like he didn't even want to be up there, but he got himself up there and said it. Yeah, to the people in New York, y'all need to get them. You need to get Eric Adams up out of there, because he's not doing y'all any favors. He's not doing y'all any good. He's doing everything possible for all these other groups. He is literally in over his head, and that's a lot of head to be over. Tildall said, don't get me started on Chicago where the new black mayor has. Yeah, I heard about that. And shout out to Afro, because I believe he's in here. He did a very good breakdown of that. The reason why I really didn't talk about that is because I let the people of Chicago deal with that situation. And that's, yeah, I have a feeling that this is going to be a very interesting election cycle. I'm keeping my eyes peeled. Shout out to Winnie Wall for the $1.99 super chat. He says, I own my house in the Bronx. New York is being ran through. Well, first off, thanks for the dono, and I hope they don't come to your door. Sage said, I can't wait to vote against this turtle looking at dude. What hold on, when is the election? Was that's most likely next year? Most likely. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Eric Adams is probably going to be gone. I think he might have accepted his fate. If he hasn't already, he needs to accept it now. As a matter of fact, start packing up everything right now. Just have everything in boxes. That way, when you lose, the transition process will be faster. But yeah, man, listen. One thing this pandemic did is it exposed me to a lot of these crooked politicians around the establishment outside of the ones in the state I live in. And Eric Adams is definitely one of them crooked ones, for sure. Let's move on to the next story. Now, this story right here is fairly unknown, but I'm not surprised. And when you see what I mean, you'll know exactly why. So we're here to talk about this woman right here whose name is Jasmine Hartin. She is they said she's a socialite, basically on the Kim Kardashian side of the game, person who's just famous and have no discernible talents outside of them just having money, probably an inheritance of some sort or a hedge fund. They said that she's a socialite who killed a Belize policeman and is being held at the border after she tried to leave the country. Now, this was posted on June 7th, 2023. Now, they have a picture of the cop that she killed. Now, when y'all see the picture of the cop, you'll see exactly why they're trying to get her off. Socialite Jasmine Hartin was detained at a border post as she tried to leave Belize days after being sentenced for accidentally killing a police chief. Hartin, age 34, escaped the jail term last week after the 2021 shooting of Superintendent Henry Jamont, but was fined approximately $56,000 in order to complete 300 hours of community service. But she was forced to spend the night in the cells after she attempted to cross into Mexico on Tuesday evening using an emergency travel document. The estranged partner of billionaire Tory Grandy Lord Ashcroft's son Andrew was stopped. Well, there you go. That's now you see how she became a socialite. the estranged partner of billionaire Tory grandee Lord Ashcroft's son Andrew, that's a lot, that's a mouthful right there, was stopped at the country's northern border with her PR manager Louisa Caramonti. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce her name, Caramonti. She had been carrying documents proving she had wired the funds to her lawyer, who was in turn obliged to settle the fee. Hartin's supporters last night raced to pay the fine in cash and presented a receipt from the court to the police. Her friend says she was being unlawfully held, and they hoped the Canadian would now be released from custody. So she's from Canada. The socialite was being held in a sweltering police station in the border town of Corozal. Authorities had previously told local media that she had not yet settled her fine, and so had not her passport returned to her by the courts. Now, here's a picture of, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. If y'all see right here, this guy right here, that's the cop she killed. Notice when I said, I bet you, like, I can see why they're trying to get her off. This guy right here is the cop she killed, not the woman, the man. So now we can see why they're trying to, get her up out of there. Exactly, Robin Cooper. It makes sense now. Well, let me get back into finishing the article. Canadian lawyer Seth Weinstein said over the weekend Hartin had paid the hefty fine, one of the largest in case of its kind in Belize history, in full with the help of a friend. But while Hartin insists she has wired the sum to her legal team, her lawyer in Belize, Orson Elrington, admitted on Tuesday they were still in the process of finalizing the full payment. The lawyer for the officer's bereaved family, Leslie Mendez, expressed grave concerns about letting her leave the country. She said, "We, of course, have concerns about her leaving the country. We will press on and make every effort to get some justice for the Jamaats." So there you have it. Happened back in 2021, and now it's 2023, and she tried to flee. If anything, that should tell you right there all the more reason she needs to stay. I know some of y'all in here probably thought it was a PC cop, but I knew it wasn't. Of course I did, because I already saw his picture. But I said, like Robin said earlier, now it all makes sense. Graveshot, yes, I had heard of this story a couple years ago. Yeah, this is my first time hearing about this. Lawrence J said that she said she was the victim of, oh, you deleted the comment. I can't see it. But yeah, this would constitute, I guess you can say, under Operation Protect the White Boy, White Woman edition. But with that being said, speaking of Operation Protect the White Boy, I have another one to bring you. And this one, he definitely got some protection. Check this out.
On the Brickell Avenue Bridge a few years ago avoids jail time thanks to a plea agreement in court.
CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor has more on what Mark Bartlett now faces.
10 years probation instead of having to go to trial and face the possibility of up to 55 years in prison. Even the judge said that he would not accept such plea before. So here's what that probation implies.
I apologize for my conduct that day.
A statement of remorse inside a Miami-Dade courtroom Tuesday to the young men who were confronted by Mark Bartlett on January 21st, 2019.
I was wrong to use those words and regret the pain that my words have caused anyone around or anyone that has seen them.
Bartlett's case gained notoriety when video of him surfaced confronting a group of teenagers who were protesting for lack of affordable housing by blocking the roadway near Miami's Brickell Bridge. Bartlett and his then girlfriend were stuck in traffic. The video showed Bartlett yelling racial slurs several times and wielding a gun. The state attorney's office agreed to the plea agreement under certain conditions.
The defendant will complete 300 community service hours.
Bartlett will not be allowed to carry a gun.
The defendant will enter, attend, and complete anger management classes.
He cannot contact the victims ever.
And should the defendant violate any of the terms of this agreement, the defendant may be sentenced up to 55 years in state prison.
The component of the racial hatred is disturbing.
Judge Alberto Milian said he would not accept the plea deal without the victims agreeing to it.
The message, is clear that we will not tolerate, bigotry and racism. And whether it was sincere or not, Mr. Bartlett acknowledged his wrongdoing.
However, I asked the now young men if they were glad about the outcome.
To be honest, I'm not really happy. They should have put the belt on them all the way. No remorse. Because if it was the other way around, they would have put it on us.
Bartlett and his attorney stormed out without responding any of our questions. So Mark Bartlett's permanent residence will be in Palm Beach County, and he will also be allowed to travel to Puerto Rico for business. That was negotiated. Again, his probation is for 10 years. In Northwest Miami-Dade, Ivan Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
Why would they ask the victims if they felt good about that? Were they supposed to say yes? What kind of question is that? That kind of pissed me off. Like, what kind of question is that to ask? Are you okay? Are you excited about what you heard? What? No. This guy came at them with a gun. Like he was about to pop off. They just had to sit there in that courtroom and watch the person that hurled slurs at them and come at them with a gun and probably could have killed them that day get only 10 years probation. What is that to be excited about? And yeah, Jordan, I saw the black woman's face who was like the security. She was looking at that guy like, you are full of shit. That's the look on her face that she gave, and she couldn't hide it at all. She probably didn't even know the camera was on her. But yeah, she was looking like, dude, you are full of it. But yeah, he only got 10 years probation. And look at that. For a 2019 MLK Day confrontation, you know, the day that they the same man that they love to say he was such a great person and everything like that. Well, I got a question for this Mark Bartlett guy. Do you think MLK would have stood for that? Since they claim to love MLK so much. And of course, he walked out of there without saying anything. What was there for him to say? He got what he wanted. His attorneys got what he wanted. He got what he wanted. All he got to do was keep his nose clean for the next 10 years until 2033. Sage said, where was the hate crime charges? Oh, I'll tell you where they were. They were, shoot, I'm trying to think. It feels like it's trying to come to me, but I can't really gather the thought of where were them hate crime charges at. Oh, I know where they were. They were non-existent. As in, they most likely had no intention of getting him on one hate crime charge. After all, he's not doing any time in jail. This is in Florida. DeSantis's Florida. DeSantis was, keep in mind, still the governor. Or was he? I can't remember. Was DeSantis governor in 2019? Someone put it down in the chat. Was DeSantis the governor in 2019? And for all of those out there that think this black and brown, well, I don't know what his, now I think this is a white guy. Is it the reporter is south of the Borderian? Shout out to AB Promotions for the $4.99 super chat. Keep giving them this work at Torian. I appreciate it. I most definitely will. PD Chicago said no, he wasn't. Okay. Yeah, I had to catch myself. Make sure you know DeSantis wasn't the governor. Okay. Listen, the governor in 2019 for Florida is so far removed at this point because all we hear about is DeSantis. Spidey says that Miami has a Hispanic Republican as mayor. I'm not surprised by that. This is Miami we're talking about here. This is DeSantis in Florida we're talking about here too. Yeah, but like Miss Renee said, there is no black and brown coalition. I'm still mad at this dude right here with the slick back asking that black man how he feel excited about the sentencing. If you don't get out of my face with that. Afro said he did become elected governor in 2019. Okay. So he was there. Okay. But yeah, y'all. Some BS. But another day, another Dub S gets to walk scot-free, and y'all just got 2 live Operation Protect the White Boys, one of them a white woman, in this stream. Shout out to hold on. Trill Fate, B1 to you. Let's move on to the next story. Okay, y'all. We are about to talk about some South of the Bordarians. Y'all want to hear about some South of the Bordarians? Put a 1 in the chat. We're about to talk about some more South of the Bordarians. And this time, near my neck of the woods. Well, not in my state, but near me. As a matter of fact, I was just over in this area today. Okay, we got some ones. About to hear about some South of the Bordarians. Now, I done told y'all, when they come over here, they are going to bring their bad habits with them. I talked about it a couple weeks ago, where you had that one that was going around violating a 15-year-old girl and this grown woman in Silver Spring, Maryland. Well, now we headed to Alexandria, Virginia, because we have some MS-13 gang members who were just sentenced for attempted murder in Virginia. And I'm not surprised it's in Virginia either. Alexandria, Virginia. 4 Northern Virginia MS-13 gang members are facing years in prison for various crimes, including 2 attempted murders in Prince William County in 2019. According to court documents, 23-year-old Roberto Cruz Moreno, 22-year-old Marvin Torres, 25-year-old Perez Sandoval, and 32-year-old Jose Rosales Juarez were sentenced Wednesday. Official says Cruz Moreno was a Pasa de Homeboy and Torres was a Chiqueo, both of which are soldiers in the Guanacos Los Psychos, or the GLCS clique of MS-13. Sandoval was an Observacion, which is a lower level soldier, and Rosales Juarez was a Pero, which is an entry level member. In March 2019, Cruz Moreno picked up 3 other GLCS gang members and a victim. He then drove the group to an isolated wooded area in Bristol. One gang member then shot the victim multiple times, while another stabbed the victim in the neck and attempted to slit his throat. Court documents show that the gang members believe the victim had been disrespecting MS-13 and associated with a rival gang. Following the attack, Cruz Moreno left with the 3 other members and drove them to his home. About a month later, police found Cruz Moreno in possession of a firearm and several grams of packaged cocaine in his vehicle, along with 3 other GLCS gang members traveling with him in the vehicle. Cruz Moreno had earlier that day been selling cocaine on behalf of the clique. In July 2019, Torres identified a rival gang member in GLCS controlled territory, giving pictures of the victim to fellow gang members. According to court documents, Rosales Juarez watched the victim at a Manassas restaurant and talked about killing the victim with GLCS first word or leader, Andy Tovar, age 33, of White Post. Fairfax County police say Tovar is considered to be one of the highest ranking MS-13 members in the United States. Tovar gave permission to kill the victim, and on August 12, 2019, Perez Sandoval drove 2 others to get a gun, a mask, and a change of clothes before heading back to the victim's location, where a gang member shot the victim. Perez Sandoval then drove the associated from the scene of the shooting to Rosales Juarez's residence. Rosales provided Perez Sandoval a different car to drive and rented a hotel room under his own name for the 2 other GLCS gang members involved in the attempted murder. According to Fairfax County Police, Tovar pled guilty to each of the crimes with which he was charged on February 4th, 2022. He admitted to authorizing gang members to kill a victim who was stabbed over 140 times using knives and a machete before dumping the victim's body in a creek and lighting his car on fire. Tovar was sentenced to life in prison for his crime September 2022. For their roles in the conspiracies, Cruz Moreno and Perez Sandoval were each sentenced to 20 years in prison, and Torres and Jose Rosales Juarez were sentenced to 10 years in prison. And shout out to Always Me for the $10 super chat. Hold on, y'all. I have no clue why that did that. Okay. All right, we are back. I hate when the little ashes kind of play on their own. But anyway, I had read elsewhere that they were here illegally. That too that also doesn't surprise me. Miss Renee said they will have lots of beans and burritos in prison. But that's why the reason why, like I said, I highlighted the story is because you keep in mind of what's being allowed to come over here. And I've heard of the MS-13 gang like years ago. Like the first time I think I heard about them, I was probably in high school. That was probably the first time I ever heard about them, way back in the early 2000s. So they've been here for a while, and they're still coming over. But like I said, when you allow this to fester like that, you are bringing in another element. So now this is what's coming over. And they ain't going to try to leave. They're going to establish a block, and they're going to plant themselves there. A said I was in high school too when I first heard about them. But they're very heavy in Virginia. That's why when I saw that this came out of VA, I wasn't shocked. But let's move on to the next story. Now, this story is a triumphant story, but it's also a bittersweet one, but more should definitely happen. And that is the story about Travis Rudolph being found not guilty or acquitted of murder because of something that his ex did. When I heard about this story, it reminded me a little bit of what happened with Merlin Santana. Only it didn't go the way that his situation did. But before we go into like what I think about this, which I have quite a few thoughts, let me go ahead and read the story itself. Keith Williams, I have seen that movie. That movie was brutal. NFL superstars and celebrities are showing much love and support for ex-NFL player Travis Rudolph after his murder acquittal. It took the jury less than 4 hours Wednesday to decide Rudolph's fate in the self-defense case, but it took his supporters far less time to start flooding social media with their reactions. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson showed his support of Rudolph on Twitter shortly after the trial started with a post reading, "Free Travis Rudolph." Jackson followed up after the verdict with a tweet that included prayer hands and the hashtag "All Glory to God." Rudolph spent Wednesday night celebrating with his family and close friends, including his former Florida State University teammate Dalvin Cook. The duo posted Instagram lives throughout the night, showing them dancing, singing, and partying it up. Rapper Meek Mill, a vocal criminal justice reform advocate who spent several months in prison before his conviction was overturned in 2019, after new evidence brought the arresting officer's credibility into question, delivered a strong message of support to Rudolph. "Blessings, a messy ass hoe can destroy your life in 60 seconds. Now go get that 20 plus for that doc series." DJ Academics also tweeted a message to the former NFLer with "not guilty" written in all caps. The former New York Giants wide receiver is accused of killing. Now, this is the case itself for those of y'all who need a rundown of why this is occurring. The former New York Giants wide receiver is accused of killing a man in Lake Park, Florida in April 2021. The former Florida State University and New York Giants wide receiver tried to claim a stand-your-ground defense in the first-degree murder trial. On the night of the deadly shooting, Rudolph had just gotten into a fight with his girlfriend at his home in West Palm Beach. According to a probable cause affidavit, the fight escalated when 4 men confronted Rudolph at his home. The former NFL player then grabbed the gun and shot at the group as they ran off. 2 men were shot. Sebastian John Jacques died and Tyler Robinson was hospitalized but recovered. The nearly 2 weeks of testimony can be described as fiery and emotional as first-hand accounts of the deadly night. Rudolph's ex-girlfriend Dominique Jones revealed shocking details about her relationship with the former NFL player, including that she is married. She also has questioned about what she found on the former NFL player's phone that led to them getting into a fight the night of that he shot at a group of men. I was more hurt than angry, Jones said about learning Rudolph had been cheating on her. The two started fighting, and later prosecutors believe Jones' brother and 3 other men showed up to Rudolph's house to confront him. That's because she called them. You know how I talk about Black Karens? This Dominique Jones is the epitome of one. To close out the testimony, the defense called Rudolph's brother and mother, who both witnessed the events of the night. Linda Rudolph testified in court Monday that Travis's ex-girlfriend put a hit on him after the two had gotten into a scuffle. Mom, you got to come get your son Travis because I'm going to have my brothers and his friends come and F him up and kill him. The emotional mother testified. Notice how they keep calling her emotional. This woman need to be locked up. Rudolph was the final person called to the stand. We on demon time, Rudolph testified. This is what the 4 men said after they came to his mother's house and confronted him about an argument with his ex-girlfriend. And that's the whole article right there. She needs to be locked up. And that's her right there in the picture. She basically sent hellhounds to him to try to get him. And he ended up getting them. This woman in the process was trying to get one black man killed, but then in the process got another one killed and one wounded because of her, because of what she allegedly found in his phone. I hope they give this woman hell until she can't take it no more. Jordan said, cheating or not, she was the catalyst that started it all, which caused a white knight to lose his life. Pretty much. Either way, a black man was going to lose his life that night. Either way. And it's her fault. All of it. Her fault. Jermaine Nowell said, where's her husband? Good question. Or Knowles, forgive me if I said your last name wrong. Good question. Where is her husband? Hopefully leaving her. Or if not, haven't left her already. And the crazy part about it is, like Grape Shot said, she probably won't be held accountable at all for what she did. I'm surprised she even had the nerve to show up. Jerome said, what race is Travis Rudolph? You don't see him on the screen? That's him. He's black. He's a black man. He's right here, sitting with the suit on. And the woman in the corner right here in the circle, that's the ex. That's the one who put out the call to set him up to be killed. And I bet you she probably told the people to go after him. She most likely embellished the story that he did something to her in a physical manner, like put his hands on her or something like that, to rile them up even more. Modaj says she needs to be in jail, most definitely, and hit with a bunch of charges. But he's very fortunate that he was found not guilty, especially in the state of Florida. Because like I told you, going back to the other story, it's very rare that there are Black people that can get the stand your ground to work for them, or self-defense to work for them, no matter what the state, honestly. So the jury must have seen something, or his team presented a very good case. Because like Jordan said, niggas better stop running into the battlefield based on a woman's word. Exactly, because now this man, who was probably completely oblivious of what was going on and going based off of what she said, is now dead. But like I said, it was either going to be Travis Rudolph or the one that's deceased. Either way, a life was going to be lost that night. And she's the one that's responsible. But let me move on to the last one. And this one is not necessarily a story, but it's a very ridiculous video. And it's actually going to lean into a couple of videos that I'm going to be doing in the coming days. But let me play this out for y'all right quick. And I want y'all to listen to how ridiculous this is. Okay, so y'all heard that right there. And the way that I heard about this is this video is so funny, but let me tell you, let me preface it for you and show you how the joke is going to be on her. So I actually was on Twitter, I think last week, and I actually saw something trending called woke chicken. Like literally it said woke chicken in all caps, but I didn't think to talk about it. Oh shoot. You know what? I played this whole damn video and didn't even share the tab. Let me play it. Let me play it again so y'all can see it.
So I'm grieving.
I'm playing it one more time.
It's lunchtime. I'm here with Aubrey, and we really wanted some Chick-fil-A, but because they decided to hire a diversity, equity, and inclusion corporate position, and also bow down to the woke lords because of their ESG scores, and also I found out, do you know this? Their chicken is funded by BlackRock and Vanguard. Are you kidding? Yeah, their farms. They use Tyson and this other farm. BlackRock and Vanguard funded chicken. Chick-fil-A, you are no longer the Lord's chicken. You're actually the woke chicken. And I'm really upset about it as a Christian woman. All we wanted was some good fried chicken. So now we're going to go to Cane's. We're going to try it out. This is really difficult because there's a Chick-fil-A across the street. I'm now eating chicken fingers instead of chicken nuggets. I know, first world Christian woman problems. No one will ever understand the love that I had for Chick-fil-A. And I got my sweet tea with a lemon, and we're taking this boycott Chick-fil-A thing seriously, and it's really difficult. I got a 4-finger box combo, extra fries, crispy cane sauce.
Okay, so now y'all got it out. I just wanted to play the video so y'all can see, because I didn't realize I wasn't sharing the tab until I looked up and I saw it wasn't there. But the way I found out about this, it was trending on Twitter. It said woke chicken. It was in all caps, and I didn't even think to look at it, because I'm like, here they go again. I'm like, what are they talking about? Then somebody tagged me in the video and it said woke chicken. And I was like, when I was looking at it, I was like, that's what this was trending. This video, this goofy video right here. So apparently she's upset, quote unquote, that Chick-fil-A is doing the diversity thing, quote unquote. And now her way of boycotting it is to go to Raising Cane's. Now, before I show you how the joke is on her, because this thing is funny, I have a couple of videos that's coming up that's literally going to be why I say how woke has become a joke. And I guess you can say this is the kickoff right here with this video that you just saw. So this woman's name is Morgan. If you look at her bio, it says daughter of the King culture, Christian, as she established in her video, lifestyle at TPUSA, Turning Point USA. Now, y'all know I did a video talking about Charlie Kirk yesterday. I uploaded a video about Charlie Kirk yesterday. If y'all haven't seen it, go and check that out so y'all can see the details behind that. Contributor, political commentator, and media personality, CEO of the Lord's Chicken. She calls Chick-fil-A the Lord's Chicken. Shout out to OGK Network. It says, hey, Torian, those two women are not from Maryland. They are from Trinidad. You talking about the women that killed the grandmother and the mother? Well, thanks for telling me. Either way, it's still a tragedy. But before I go and show y'all the joke that's on her, put a 1 in the chat. I need to know from the audience. Do y'all want to know how the joke backfired on her? Because it did. It definitely did. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all want to know how this backfires on her. And she didn't even realize it. I swear, if I wasn't doing this in the form of a live stream, this would have been a triple P for sure. All right, I'm seeing a bunch of 1s. Y'all ready? How the joke was on her. Remember how she said she's going to go to Raising Cane's because they don't support the woke agenda? Well, I present to you the joke being on her, because look at this from Raising Cane's, June 21st, 2021. Happy Pride from our crew to yours. And they're standing with the shirts in rainbow formation. She just went to an establishment that is Academy friendly. The joke is on her. And she already ate there and supported them. She gave them their money. She's an idiot. She went from the Lord's Chicken. Man, I can't y'all. This is exactly why I said woke is become a joke. And they have turned it into that. She thought she was doing something. If she would have did her little research, she would have known this. Because again, it says June 21st, 2021. This was 2 years ago. This picture wasn't taken this year, which means this has been out there. But her dumb ass did not do the research. I had read another comment somewhere. They said someone said y'all gonna starve yourselves to death. You want to know what's so crazy? Remember when Chick-fil-A had that controversy with the Academy a couple years ago, and they thought they was gonna do something with the boycott? It was some people in the Academy that said y'all can do the little boycott all you want, but I'm gonna go in there and get my Chick-fil-A meal. Y'all can have that. Because even some of them realize how ridiculous that is. So to this Morgan M chick, congratulations, you played yourself. Judith said, who's going to tell her? I think she might already know because the people already trolled her. Like, this tweet was near the top of her post, and many more people posted this over and over again. Like, they may have retweeted her and they posted it over and over again. She didn't even delete the video, clearly because I was able to show it to y'all. So, yeah, she must feel like an idiot. But, yep, the Lord's Chicken. These people make a fool out of themselves. Like, They just literally wake up every day thinking they got something going. And ain't nothing working for them. Nothing is working out in their favor. Lena says she's slow. Olana says she's slow. Miss Renee says, yes, she played her sorry self. Lewis knows that I bet she's red in the face. And you know what's so funny about Raising Cane's? They just opened up one in Maryland. Like, I think they just opened up their first one in Maryland like a couple months ago in Waldorf. So, hey, it is what it is. But anyway, y'all, that's going to conclude the stream. I told y'all we was going to be here a little bit longer than usual. Of course, y'all know, like I told y'all at the beginning, I'll be leaving this stream up. So for those of y'all who missed the live, y'all will be able to catch the playback. For everybody, I'm not putting it behind the paywall. Not this week, but we'll be doing it again, next week. Like I said, it's like a back and forth type of week deal. Okay, shout out to everybody who came through. It was a packed house tonight. We almost had 300 people here in the live chat. Shout out to everybody that came in. Shout out to everybody who donated. Shout out to Val. You doing me like TD and Rob. Shout out for the $5 super chat. We will be back here tomorrow. And for those of y'all who do not know, I have put it up on a community tab that me and Rob Blacklight Revelations do have a collab video coming tomorrow. I'm going to show the premiere window once I get out of this, and you will see who we will be going in on tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. that is. And I'm sure y'all are really going to enjoy it. This collab / roast that we're doing was highly requested for a while now. So y'all are going to definitely look forward to that. I can't wait to see everybody come through tomorrow and just have a good laugh, kickback, or whatever the case may be. And shout out to Carla for following up on her double mint twin with the $5 super chat. I definitely appreciate it. Y'all be good. Y'all be safe. Be one. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow.